Well, welcome. Good morning. Here we continue our dialogue about the evolution of consciousness of our species, and wanted to really focus today again on this period. I mentioned it briefly in our first session, but this time between 1965 and 1972, in my mind, was really critical. It was this tipping point, I guess you'd call it, where there, for whatever reason, there's an opening, a portal opens through which, a high concentration of this energetic principle expresses itself. And there's so many individuals on the planet during this time, and I'll mention a few. Alan Watts was in his final years. He passed in 1973. Carlfried Graf Durkheim was on the planet. Joseph Campbell was on the planet. M. Scott Peck. His major book would come out, Choim Trungpa. Just so many, and so many that would influence me personally. Dr. David Hawkins, Terence McKenna, Byron Katie, Eckhart Tolle. The Tao of Physics was published in 1975. Osho was entertaining people with his shenanigans, like I had mentioned before, because of the influence of the Beatles. Many of these Eastern teachers, Maharishi Mahesh Yogi, Choim Trungpa, Thich Nhat Hanh, and Choim Trungpa, Osho. Ram Dass published his book Be Here Now in 1971. It was just this very ripe time that we had created collectively. We had created this portal that opened, and specifically what was happening was Helen Schuckman and Bill Thetford were scribing A Course in Miracles. And I really believe that A Course in Miracles is pivotal to our understanding of this evolution. So the two things, the two critical things that were happening between 1965 and 72 were the influence because of the Beatles, Eastern philosophy becoming much more popular in the West. So this merging of East and West. Remember, this is all about the Tao, all about the two parts coming together. Okay, so this influence of the East merging with the West. It's very important that the East came to the West. Westerners had often gone to ashrams in the East, but the whole point was East coming to the West. Just like now, the whole point is North America coming to South America, the eagle flying with the condor. These are very, very important things to see the merging of elements together. Okay, so we're talking about a global phenomenon, and hopefully this will become more and more clear to you as we progress with this study of our evolution. Very clear that there's this integration. Okay, so what A Course in Miracles was doing was basically redoing Christianity. Jesus was coming back to clear up all of the misunderstanding of his teaching 2,000 plus years ago. And it's, very, very key to understanding truly what A Course in Miracles is. And like I've shared before, it was my devotion for 25 years. And A Course in Miracles was clearly telling me, Jesus was clearly telling me in no uncertain language that I, like him, was here, we share a function of manifesting this Christ mind, this bright light. The only lessons repeated 5 times in the 365 lessons in the workbook of A Course in Miracles is, I am the light of the world. Okay, so this phrase, I am, is so powerful. This is what we are being called to speak, to say, to be, to manifest fully this light. This is the second coming, right? The second coming of the Christ. but it is, in Carolyn Mace's language, 1,000 points of light around the globe, not one avatar. No special teachers, right? This whole idea that I mentioned before, Theosophical Society, there would be this world teacher. No, that's not true. There's no second coming of Jesus. There's no world teacher. It's us. Us, the 1,000 points of light, that we would come together with a common language that transcends all religions, all paths. Okay, there's only one path. There's only one path. You have to take away the forms that appear to make many paths and just see the one thing, clearly stated in A Course in Miracles, the final benediction, where he's saying, through you is ushered in a world unseen, unheard, yet truly there. We are called to usher in reality, to be the portal, to be the bridge between heaven and earth, to be the portal through which this unmanifested, as Eckhart Tolle later in 1997 would put in his remarkable book, The Power of Now. And the most remarkable thing, well, two remarkable things that he did in this book. He basically rephrased Carl Fried Graf Durkheim, okay? I think Carl Fried Graf Durkheim was his mentor, right? Another German. We'll get into Durkheim more in the future, but Durkheim had brilliantly expressed our function, our very simple function, which was to be a portal through which the unmanifested would manifest in the world. Okay? Durkheim was still using language more of like the divine and all of that. So one of Eckhart's brilliant additions to this common evolution of truth, okay, truth being expressed, is that he took God, the divine, he took these words out. He would not use the word love a whole lot. He basically said that by naming God the unmanifested, I remember when I read that, I was like, that's brilliant. That's so precise. It's so helpful to understand how the unmanifested needs manifestors, right? The unmanifested cannot manifest without a manifester. So in my world, I am the manifester of the unmanifested. And in your world, you are it. Okay, this is the simple, radiant truth that is so powerful to realize what your function is, how important your function is. Okay, if you truly decide to become a part of this evolutionary thrust that we are in right now, you do so by agreeing, saying yes to your function and doing it to the best of your ability. Doesn't matter, there's no right or wrong way to do it, because what you're simply doing, okay, again, using Eckhart's language, for a new earth is that you're manifesting a baseline of acceptance. Okay, it's a neutral line. You're not going below acceptance into negativity. But ideally, you're vibrating at a higher level of appreciation or gratitude. Okay, so Eckhart said there's acceptance, appreciation, and enthusiasm is the highest state. So to be in your enthusiasm, which means to be in a high state of creativity. Okay, you are literally co-creating the world.